What is going on, everyone? Thank you for joining me for another video. This is Crypto Glenn, your host, and you are watching the Crypto channel without any elongated intro. So without any hesitation, let's get into it. Before we begin today's video, we just want to take a look at what prices are doing. Bitcoin over the last 24 to 48 hours has kind of crept up past $11,000. Currently, it's sitting around $10,961. Ethereum is just under $400, and XRP is up to 25 cents. Good to see some price action moving in an upward direction all across this space right now. Binance coin, surprisingly, was just at $30 the other day, and I was currently sitting at 26. But overall, I mean, things for the most part are doing pretty good. Even Chainlink, I know it's kind of down a little bit, but it's looking like it's starting to creep back up there, 2% in the last 24 hours. So that's a good sign if you are holding Chainlink. I'm sure the majority of you have heard the news by now that Kraken becomes the first crypto exchange in the U.S. to be accepted for a charter bank license. This is huge news. For all that I'm concerned, this is just one more major step in the pathway to crypto adoption. What I want to share with you guys here is a interview David Kinitsky, the CEO of Kraken, and I hope I pronounced his last name correctly, but the CEO of Kraken sat down with Matthew Aaron, the host of Crypt Daily, where they just kind of go over some things, talk about the deal that was just done. And this interview, I hope, will shed you or provide you with a lot more insight as to what this means for Kraken, how it is that they plan to go about their day-to-day operation, and just give everybody in the crypto space a little bit better understanding of what this deal actually means for the crypto space, what it actually means for traditional people who essentially use Kraken for their products and services, and what this actually means for Kraken. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into the interview with Aaron and David.
Yeah, no, it is a big day for us over here. Today, we received unanimous voted approval from the Wyoming State Banking Board to receive a bank charter for something that's called a Special Purpose Depository Institution, or SPDI, which is a special type of bank that we're pursuing to operate our digital asset business out of.
And what does that mean? An SP? I'm sorry. Go ahead. What was it again?
Yeah, Special Purpose Depository Institution, or SPDI. Some people call it Speedy. But happy to explain what that is. It is a real bank, but it's a very specific type of bank. It does not conduct any sort of fractional reserve banking activities or associated lending. So it is full reserve. All assets that folks deposit are held there, and we're not lending it out on the back end or have any sort of insolvency risk there. It is built from the ground up with digital assets in mind. And in our view, it is the most complete regime to operate a digital asset and associated banking activities out of in the United States. It has a dedicated supervisory program for digital assets, and the folks in Wyoming have spent a ton of time getting up to speed and getting super smart on how banking rules and regulations would work with digital assets. And so we're super excited to become a bank, but a very specific type of bank.
So what does that mean for the average consumer in America now in relation to Kraken Exchange?
Yeah, so it means a couple things. One, it means that Kraken will have a better and more certain regulatory position in the United States. Regulatory has been a problem for a lot of folks in the United States who have to either conduct or approach a 50-state patchwork type approach, getting licenses in every single state, or they need to pursue a banking license that isn't really flexible enough or appropriately tailored to operate in the digital asset industry. So this gives us a great regulatory positioning to operate our business in a more streamlined way across the United States in every jurisdiction eventually. Number two, it means that we will be able to offer traditional banking and funding and payment mechanisms onto our exchange and other services in a more seamless and streamlined way, and integrate that banking service into digital asset products and services. And third, and like where customers will eventually see the most impact, we can offer new products and services that we wouldn't otherwise be able to offer as a non-bank. Things like a debit card backed by crypto, things like qualified custody for institutions, things like wealth management for digital assets, and then ultimately handling other asset classes like securities, commodities, and derivatives. So a lot coming down the pike in the next couple of years.
So I'm usually kind of focused on the average consumer, the mom and pop. There's the the normal person that has a 9 to 5, and in America, there's a lot of different offerings when it comes to exchanges: Coinbase, Coinbase Pro, Binance.us, Bittrex, Gemini. What differentiates you guys from all those other exchanges and platforms in the U.S.?
Yeah, so I think a couple things have always differentiated Kraken. I think Kraken has established itself as probably being regarded as the most secure of those platforms in the U.S. And I think it stems from having a relentless focus on customer interests, even making unpopular decisions such as Kraken's previous decision to withdraw from New York under regulation that we thought would harm the customers. I think that you're right to point out that there's kind of a bifurcation of users of digital assets in the U.S. and some challenge to get adoption among other non-crypto users. Kraken's mission has always been to promote the adoption of digital assets to enable better financial freedom. And this is a great tool to do that because now we have a platform that has always served, very digital asset savvy investors and traders. And now we have a banking channel that we can speak to traditional, more kind of mainstream users and have it look like a traditional mobile banking and checking experience that's connected to the digital asset exchange on the back end. So we can have two channels to speak to those different audiences.
Paint me a picture, give me a vision really quick of what would the normal person, that 9 to 5er, what would it look like using Kraken in America now that you're getting more situated here?
Yeah, well, once we're fully up and running and have everything going, we expect that we'll be able to offer a very traditional looking, online and mobile banking product. What we see in the industry is all of these forces kind of combining and being bundled into one between digital assets, fintech companies, and traditional financial services. Everybody is kind of bundling all these services together into some sort of combined platform. We're going to be able to play on that same landscape and offer what looks like, for those that want it, a very traditional or vanilla mobile banking and checking platform and service. And then, hey, do you want to conduct investments into securities, digital assets? Hey, would you like to optionally use digital assets for payments or other uses? And they can add those services on a piecemeal or a la carte basis so that we can address the needs of different customer sets in a way that is more familiar to them. I think is a massive advantage of us pursuing this.
I hate to keep beating this horse right here, but when you say traditional, I still would like to know, what does that mean? Traditional meaning you have checkbooks? Do you have a Kraken debit card?
Yeah, maybe not that traditional. Yeah,
what is traditional? Can you define that?
That's fair. Yeah, I'm talking about a traditional, like more digital mobile focused experience. Yeah, I don't think that we're going to be building up brick and mortar bank branches or, have a big focus on paper cash or checkbooks, right? No, that's not exactly what I meant by traditional. I guess I mean more just traditional online and mobile banking. So, hey, you have your electronic and wire deposit account named and numbered, and you can connect that to your payroll and receive paychecks directly into your account, and then seamlessly invest that as you see fit and have that all connected in a digital space. So that's what I was referencing. If you have a Bank of America or other account now, and you have the mobile app and the online checking abilities, and you connect that to receive your paycheck in, and then you use your debit card at the store or wherever else, those are the types of services that I'm referring to. And then being able to connect that to being able to also use digital assets or invest in digital assets in a separate service.
What is the play for the market in the United States? Look, you have these other companies that are here. Everybody's going to take a little bit of like maker-taker fees, transactions, be the traditional, like you just said, banking experience. But what is the market play for America? Is it to capture that market share, or is it to divide it because there is enough market share? Like, what is everybody trying to do, and Kraken especially, trying to do within the U.S.?
Yeah, no, I think we're, as I mentioned, I think we're at an interesting time. And I think what you're getting at here is that there is a lot of folks entering the space and folks expanding from within the space, so that there are competitive forces from the digital asset industry, like the established incumbents like Kraken there, folks in the fintech space like Square, and then folks in the financial services space like Fidelity, who are all kind of entering this market. Now, what that exact like winning solution looks like, I think is still TBD. But I think what we believe is that digital assets are here. They're going to grow, and there's going to be a massive market, and there's going to be obviously room for many, many different services to offer digital asset enabled products to their customers. And that market is just getting started. So I think there's room for everybody to kind of add them on. What we want to do is not be one of these services that just kind of adds on crypto as like a customer acquisition strategy. Like, hey, it's hot. Let's get like some press around it and like connect into a third party service in a very kind of, I would say, half put together way or duct tape way. That's not what we want to do. We think that digital assets are only going to grow. And so we're building things from a digital asset centric or native approach and coming at it from this way rather than coming at it from traditional financial services and just bolting it on.
I think the word you were looking for there was half-assed, sir.
Well, I did want to make it PG for your listeners, but you're right. I was struggling there.
Yeah, no. Thank you. I appreciate that. And they probably appreciate that too. I'm going to have to put a warning on this now.
Yeah.
When you say Wyoming, the first name always comes to my mind is Caitlin Long. Was she involved with this somehow?
Yeah, Caitlin's great. So Caitlin and the Kraken team have been working together to promote the idea of this sort of regulation and this type of institution, the Speedy Bank, over the better part of a year or two. So she's absolutely been instrumental in helping craft this type of regulation and regime. And obviously, we're pretty cooperative on some of the macro level industry innovation that we're doing here.
David, I really appreciate you coming on the show, and congratulations to Kraken and your good news.
Thanks so much, Matthew. Appreciate it and have enjoyed the time.
I thought that interview was conducted really well. You know, there's a few things that I had questions about while I was just kind of sitting back and listening to it. I like how they talked about having debit cards that were backed by crypto, and how if you were basically a customer of essentially what will be this Kraken Bank or the Kraken Bank, how you'll be able to have investments in digital assets. I mean, kind of, you know, like how you have maybe a Citigroup or a Chase private client, how they can help you, guide you in the right direction of what it is some of your investment goals are in the crypto space. When he had made mention of the use of digital asset for payments, I kind of started thinking about, well, is this a business banking product where maybe you could start accepting payments for your services or your goods in crypto, whether it be Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, XRP, any other number of coins. The invest payments into the digital space, I wonder if there's going to be a tie-in to Pay ID there maybe, and even if there's going to be crypto credit cards or crypto debit cards that have the ability to have, you can either round up to the nearest cent or the nearest 10 or 20 cents or however those cashback programs work, and automatically have the extra that's going to be kicked back to you in a predefined crypto of your choosing. I thought that would be pretty cool. Just wanted to bring a quick look at this crypto financial products. Right now, I mean, when you look at crypto in the space right now, just the products that we have are lending, margin trading, shorting, futures, and options. That's really about it. But I look at when we really start to get into the wealth management side of things, that's going to be a huge game changer for a lot of people, even more so if they're able to kind of get that side of the business up sooner rather than later, while crypto is still quote unquote in its infancy. I think that's probably going to be something that a lot of people are going to benefit greatly from. And if you've been keeping up with the space, I'm sure you're aware that the top regulator for basically the comptroller, Brian Brooks, has ruffled a lot of feathers lately, and this ties into the interview that you just heard, when he is actually pushing for reform in regulation to make it so that if you are awarded a charter of sorts by one location, then essentially you won't have the need to go to additional locations in any other state to be able to do business there. This is probably one of his latest efforts, and I forget the bill, or I forget the proper acronym for it, but that's basically what it is. If you can get permission in one location to do business as a crypto or a next generation financial firm, we'll call it, then essentially you'll have rights to operate anywhere and everywhere in the United States. Now, normally, yes, this is causing a bit of pushback by banks because banks have been slow to kind of upgrade their identity and get with the times, and they feel that when this becomes normal, and I honestly do, I think this will pass, and I think Brian Brooks will be able to get it done. But I believe a lot of banks, they're looking at this, well, if this is the case, then the writing's on our wall because we can't compete. My next question is, and I actually posted this on Twitter, was, and you can follow me on Twitter at CryptoGlenn, but how long you think until Kraken is bought out by a bigger publicly traded bank offering cryptocurrency to a very large customer base? Meaning that the bank who buys Kraken out, they'd be able to offer these products and services to their, so if Citigroup or if Morgan Stanley, or that's not really a bank, but Wells Fargo or a Chase or Bank of America, if they bought Kraken out, they would be able to offer crypto products to their already very large and already very established customer base. Now, I believe it's a Dodd-Frank Act. Don't quote me on that. But basically, investment banks aren't supposed to get into the business of what traditional banks do. So I kind of see this being, and again, if it is a Dodd-Frank regulation, this could be like a Dodd-Frank 2.0, where crypto banks, and it's kind of the way that it is, because right now, again, if you listen to the interview, the CEO of Kraken was basically saying that, we can't lend. We're not necessarily doing the traditional functions of a bank, but you still have investment banks that own other banks, but there's almost like a firewall there that prevents them from doing the traditional aspects of what a bank does. So I kind of see this being a Dodd-Frank 2.0, where a crypto bank, and I'm doing that in air quotes, but a crypto bank is actually purchased by an already established bank to offer their existing clients able to service their needs, their crypto needs, while at the same time potentially being able to take that same individual and provide them with a credit card, a traditional credit card, or a mortgage, or an auto finance, or a personal loan. And of course, those could be, owned by the same investment banks that, make up these huge hedge funds, and kind of carry this thing into the next iteration of the future. So you could have, you have now investment banks, traditional banks, and now you could have investment banks, traditional banks, and crypto banks essentially being owned all by the same entity. So I still think this question stands. How long do you think until Kraken is bought out by a bigger publicly traded bank offering cryptocurrency to a very large customer base? If you guys want to answer that, again, you can always feel free to follow me on Twitter. Join the conversation at CryptoGlenn. That's kind of what we're talking about now. This is huge for the crypto space. I don't think this is garnering enough attention. I know it's making its rounds around crypto social media, but when the masses really kind of start to understand what's going on, this is going to be absolutely huge. I also think this could help usher in a more mature space of the DeFi, again, because these crypto banks, they won't necessarily have brick and mortar. So again, they're going to be able to share the wealth a little bit better in terms, of DeFi. Now, DeFi still has a long way to come, but I think the writing's on the wall that it's not going anywhere. If you can have a Bank of America that can provide you with crypto DeFi products and help people earn better returns on their money, I mean, that's a game changer. That's really that's a vertical that I could see most banking businesses may want to get in. Now, are there certain risks maybe I'm not considering right now? Absolutely, but guess what? I'm not in the banking space, or at least not anymore. When I was, we did commercial lending, and that was a little bit of a different animal, but I still think there's variants of that variable that still apply to what it is that we're talking about here. And speaking of DeFi, there is a website on Unstoppable Domains. Those are domains actually on the blockchain, Defi-Ranker.crypto. I'd love for you to be able to buy this. I have it for sale for 99 Ethereum, and this is going to be a great website centered around everything that has to do with DeFi. Imagine being able to go to one centralized place and finding out which projects have the best return on investment, which yielding farms offer the best yield, which projects have already been vetted so that investors know that the code is rock solid, which projects have the least likelihood of having the developers exit scam, all the possible data you could want to know about a DeFi project all in one centralized place. Defi-Ranker.crypto. It's only going to be a small investment of 99 Ethereum. That price could go up as weeks go on. But if you're interested, I'd love for you to have this. The perfect URL for anyone that's looking for information regarding the DeFi space. DeFi is only going to get better as crypto goes on. It's hot right now. It's going to continue to be hot as more crypto banks open up and more crypto financial products are made available. DeFi is not going anywhere. It's a great URL to own. I'd love to sell it to you, 99 Ethereum. If you're interested, let's make it happen. All right, guys. Well, that's all I have for you. Before we go, I just want to say thank you to everyone who decided to tune in and watch this video. I appreciate it. Go ahead and smash that like button if you liked it. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. I also want to give a huge shout out to some new family members on Twitter, Trey Anthony, Trader by Night, and QBNewZZ.eth. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I appreciate you guys for following me on Twitter. Let's start a dialogue. Let me know what projects you guys are looking at. I'd love to connect with you there. Anything else you guys want me to look at, any articles, any coins, leave them in the comment section below or tweet me at CryptoGlenn on Twitter. I'd love to see what you guys are looking at. Till the next time, I'll see you guys. Peace.